cannot hear you.
Run an online practice to teach people and families how to eat healthy food, to give positive relationships to their kids around food, and for their kids to grow up with healthy habits. So in this time of craziness, I have been doing a lot to my audiences and my clients about how to keep your body healthy by adding health to your immune system. And so that's what this talk is about today, how to keep your body healthy and add health to your immune system, because that's the best way you can protect yourself against anything that comes at you, whether it's the coronavirus or the flu or, pneumonia, whatever it is. The healthier your immune system is, the better you'll be able to fight it off. And so that's what this talk is about today. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see all my slides. And at the end of the presentation, I'll take questions, and then Judy's going to email you all the slides so you have them, so you can actually pay attention. You don't have to take furious notes. I'm going to give you all the slides. Okay. Let's see if I can, how do I get my slide here? Okay. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is when you talk about disease and you talk about health, if you take the word disease and you split it in half, what that means is your body is in dis-ease. When you talk about the word health and you take it out, when you are eating healthy, your body is healed. So it's a very important thing to understand, is that you want to always be in health. You always want to add health to your body. So when you add health to your body, you actually eat the food that is medicine. You boost your immune system, you add health to your immune system, you have good habits, you make good choices, you're hydrated well, you make choices that support your gut bacteria, as opposed to when you're living with disease and you have bad habits and you eat a lot of sugar and processed foods, you eat foods that are possibly allergenic, your blood sugar is maybe out of control, your body has a lot of inflammation, and your body is in disease. It is actually very timely that I am bringing this up, because about 2 weeks ago, there was an article in the New York Times that most of the people that are ending up in the hospital on respirators with corona are people that have a lot of inflammation in their body and have a lot of disease in their body. So the whole article was about people that have diabetes and that are obese and have high blood pressure, and all of that cohort of people that's body is filled with inflammation are the ones that are getting the sickest with the COVID virus. So it's very important at this time to recognize the difference and do everything that you can, if you're looking at this grid here, to be more on the side of health and heal your body, because that will give you your best chance of staying healthy. Okay, the reason this is true is because 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. So over 300 chemical reactions that your body uses occur in your gut. And the best way to give you an example of this that you can see is that your little hormones in your body, your gut bacteria, are like little messengers, and they run around your body. And if something comes into your body that is supposed to be there, they recognize it and they say, okay, that can go on. If something comes into your body and they don't recognize it, they flag it, they stick it, they, give a message, blow this up, this is not supposed to be here. But if you have inflammation in the way and you're blocking those pathways, those immune cells can't give those messages to say that shouldn't be here, get rid of it, that shouldn't be here, blow it up. Those messages get stuck, like they get stuck in the inflammation. So it is very, very important to do whatever you can do to reduce whatever inflammation you do have in your body, so that that 80% of your immune system that lives in your gut can work properly. Okay, so can you see this? I'm like, my thing is in the way, but the best way to add health to your immune system is to do all these things. And I apologize to my Google Docs that would not put the numbers in. They all say number 1, but whatever. The first thing that you can do is get outside. Now, I know if you can't all get outside, the reason to get outside is that you can get vitamin D. So sit by a sunny window. If you can't sit on your front lawn or you can't go on your porch, find a place in your house that is sunny and just sit by the window in the sun, because by getting outside or sitting by a sunny window, you get vitamin D. And vitamin D is very important for your immune system. The second thing to add health to your immune system is to move your body. So I know that Judy has you doing that because you're doing chair yoga, but doing chair yoga, walking back and forth to your kitchen, walking up and down your stairs, whatever you're doing, walk in circles around your apartment, just move. Your body is meant to move. Make sure that you drink plenty of water. You should be drinking, and nobody fall off your chair when I tell you this, but the requirement for being hydrated is that you should be drinking half your weight in ounces of water a day. So for example, if you weigh 100 pounds, you should be drinking 50 ounces of water a day. And that is what it means to be well hydrated. You should avoid sugar, which I'm going to talk about in the second part of this presentation. You should eat a variety of healthy, colorful foods. Now, the reason I say that you want to eat the rainbow is because every fruit and vegetable, every color of fruits and vegetables have a different antioxidant. So the blue is one type of antioxidant, the reds and the oranges are different antioxidants, the green and the yellows are different antioxidants. If you have a variety of colorful foods and you eat foods from the whole rainbow, it will ensure that you're getting all the available antioxidants that you can get from fruits and vegetables. And that's the next thing is you want to eat foods that are high in antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids and immune boosting minerals. You want to get enough sleep because the body regenerates at night when you sleep. So anything that you did that your body needs to regenerate, it happens while you're sleeping. If you don't sleep enough, your body doesn't regenerate properly. Last thing is laughter. 80%, 70% of your serotonin levels are also produced in your gut. They affect all the processes in your body. So the happier that you are, the more joy that you have, the more grateful that you are about things, and that you see things in a way that you can laugh and smile, it actually adds health to your immune system. Okay, all of the things that are immune boosting foods are vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C, selenium, zinc, superfoods, and probiotics. So vitamin D plays the big role in your immune response systems, and a vitamin D deficiency can increase your susceptibility to infection, but you can't eat it. You have to synthesize it from sunlight or take a supplement. That's why if you can't get outside, you really should sit in front of like a very sunny window. Vitamin C plays a role in the immune system because it has antioxidants properties, and everybody knows what vitamin C is. So, you know, oranges, strawberries, lemons, but also dark green leafy vegetables like broccoli and kale have a lot of vitamin C. Vitamin A, everybody knows that vitamin A is good for your eyesight, like carrots and cantaloupe and anything that is that orange color, sweet potatoes. But I don't know if most people know that pink grapefruit happens to be a very good source of vitamin A. So that's a good thing because grapefruits are in season all year round. It's easy to get grapefruits. That's a very good source of vitamin A. Selenium is one of the two minerals that is very much required for optimal immune response. And you don't want to overeat it. That's why I would never recommend a supplement because too much can cause toxicity. But you do want to make sure that at least once a day you are eating a food source that has selenium. And it is in all of these sources that are pretty common. So oatmeal, lentils, bananas, you know, sunflower seeds, cashews, Brazil nuts, mushrooms, spinach, and brown rice. So as long as you eat at least every day or every other day, a serving of something that has selenium in it, it's good, but make sure that you eat it at least, if not every day, a couple times a week, because it's not a mineral that you want to be deficient in because it will weaken your immune system. The same thing with zinc. Zinc has so many immune functions in the body, it was like too much to list. I'll just say that it's extremely important for a healthy immune system, and the food sources for them are also things that are pretty common, like pumpkin seeds, nuts, beans, any whole grains, or fortified cereals. So the same thing. Again, if you can eat something like a handful of pumpkin seeds, or you have beans or a whole grain at least once a day, you will be fine. It's not something that we're usually deficient in, but now that we're all home and you may be getting groceries delivered or you may not be going shopping as much, it's good to stock your pantry with things that are high in the vitamins and minerals that you need, because it's important to keep adding health to your immune system. Probiotics are essential for immune function. So there are millions and millions and millions of live bacteria that live in your gut. The gut bacteria that are those good bacteria that protect you live on food, but the food that they eat is the fiber that comes from plants. So if you're not eating enough fiber and if you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, the good bacteria in your gut can't thrive. And the bad bacteria that are in your gut thrive on sugar. So it's very important to keep your body aligned where your gut bacteria has enough food for the good bacteria and not too much for the bad bacteria, because you want to stay in a balance, because the good bacteria is what actually protects you. Now, you can take supplements of probiotics. There's millions of them in the supermarket, but you can also get them from eating fermented foods. So you can eat sauerkraut or pickles or kimchi, or you can buy kefir milk. And it is important periodically to take a probiotic or keep pickles or sauerkraut in your apartment and eat it, daily, so that your gut bacteria actually have the food that they need to thrive. When we talk about superfoods, these are superfoods that just add health, and you can use them when you're cooking. So turmeric decreases inflammation. Garlic is so healthy. Garlic is anti-everything. Garlic is antimicrobial, antibacterial, anti-carcinogenic, antiviral. If you can just cook with garlic and put garlic in everything that you eat, you add health to your immune system. Ginger is also incredibly healthy. It increases immune antibody responses and antioxidants. So does oregano, and so do omega-3 fatty acids. All of these things are called superfoods because they're common food ingredients that you can just throw into, like even if I make rice, I just throw minced garlic into my rice. I throw turmeric and minced garlic into my rice. And my kids are like, oh, we love the yellow rice, but really little do they know that I'm just adding health to their brown rice. But either way, you can just throw it in. It doesn't really have a taste, the turmeric, it just changes the color. And the garlic, if you even throw it into whatever you're eating, it can flavor your food without adding too much salt, and it can really add health to your body. So the anti-inflammatory dietary recommendations are, again, you want to eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. You want to use the plate theory when you eat. And what the plate theory is when you sit down to eat, half of everything you're eating should be from vegetables. A quarter of your plate should be from protein, and a quarter of your plate should be from a healthy carb. So it should be always, when you sit down to eat, that you want to divide it that way so that you know that you're getting enough fruits and vegetables for those gut bacteria. Again, you want to drink half your weight in ounces of water per day. You want to move your body. You want to get outside if you can. You want to laugh and have fun. You want to sleep well, and you want to avoid sugar. Now, I'm going to start to talk about sugar because sugar is so damaging to your immune system. It's like sandpaper to your gut. So when you eat tons of sugar, it actually makes your gut bacteria stop working to process that sugar. It causes inflammation, and it wears down the walls of the gut bacteria. So what's your story with sugar? Most people eat too much sugar. So I've been spending my life during this quarantine process running sugar detoxes, online for people to get sugar out of their diet. Okay. The reason I said that is because sugar is inflammatory. It's like sandpaper to your gut, and it disrupts your immune system. Why is this a problem for all of us? It's a problem for all of us because everybody in America eats too much sugar. We consume processed foods that stall our metabolism because they have too much sugar. We have unbalanced hormones because we have too much sugar. We don't exercise in a way that accelerates fat loss because we eat too much sugar. We eat a lot, maybe not now, but usually on the go and not having meals prepped in advance. Maybe people have undiagnosed food sensitivities, and because we are all stressed out and most people don't get enough sleep. And this is a picture of a mice, and the reason I am printing this out, is because sugar is addictive. Sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine, And that is the reason that it is so hard for people to get rid of it. Because when you eat sugar, you digest it and then your body wants more. And you become more and more addicted to it. And it is harder and harder and harder to get rid of it the more sugar that you eat. So when you eat that much sugar, it robs your body of vital nutrients. The more you eat, the more you'll crave it. And it is hidden everywhere. So I'm going to show you some pictures, not to scare you. But all of these things are just different names for sugar, okay? When you look at a label, if the first 3 ingredients say any of these things, you should not be eating it, okay? But you're gonna have this slide. You can post it on your refrigerator. This is ketchup. Now, if you look here, not only does it have corn syrup, it has high fructose corn syrup. So when you're using that ketchup, it's basically like adding sugar. You know, overseas, like in Europe, they use ketchup with regular sugar. The way actually, you know how the Passover ketchup is? It tastes a little different, the Passover ketchup, because it's made with regular sugar, because it's made with corn syrup. That ketchup is much, much healthier because it doesn't have the high fructose corn syrup or the corn syrup. It just has natural sugar. When you read the label, for every 4 grams of sugar that it says on the label is equal to a teaspoon of sugar. So just try and visualize. If you read something that has 8 grams of sugar, that's like you're eating 2 teaspoons of sugar. And the recommendation is no more than 6 teaspoons for an entire day. Dried fruit can contain sugar. Granola bars are loaded with sugar. Crackers can be loaded with sugar and high fructose corn syrup. So when you avoid the sugar, this is what happens. You stabilize your energy, your body is able to release excess weight, and you add health to your immune system. Now, I know this is absolutely not what any of you want to hear, but in order to be healthy and to add health to your immune system, just taking a pause and looking at how much sugar you eat, how much processed foods you eat, if you can get rid of some of it and get down to the recommended amount, you actually will repair your gut bacteria and you will add health to your immune system. So I'm going to teach you how to eat in balance. I'm going to teach you how to eat the right carbs. And this is where we start. There are 2 types of carbs. You have simple carbohydrates and you have complex carbohydrates. The difference is of when they are digested. So simple carbohydrates, your body can digest within 30 minutes to an hour, and complex carbohydrates can take 2 to 3 hours to digest. These are simple carbs. They're basically sugar and white processed foods, okay? All forms of sugar, all fruit juice, any soda, any candy, any cake, any white flour products are all simple carbohydrates. When you eat simple carbohydrates, this is what happens. And this is what happens with your immune system, is like you are on a roller coaster heading towards disease. So when you looked at that first slide where I showed you the side that you have health and the side that you have dis-ease, if you have constant up and downs with your blood sugar, it's like you're on that roller coaster heading to crash into that disease section. So every time you digest it, blood sugar drops down and you crave more and you eat more. And that spike up and down adds fat, adds cravings, makes you gain weight, and adds disease to your body. And this is what happens. When you have excess sugar, it gets just metabolized into fat, and that's what makes you gain weight. So every time it spikes like that and you have too much, you make fat, crave more, and then you make more fat, and then you crave more, and then you make more fat. So not all carbs, though, are bad. And for my entire life, even working in the diabetes center, we would talk about having consistent amount of carbs throughout the day because your brain even needs glucose for energy. You need a certain amount of carbohydrates, but you want to eat the right carbohydrates. These are the right carbohydrates. So brown rice, quinoa, millet, spelt, beans, nuts, fruit, vegetables, any whole grains, barley, farro, anything like that as well. Then when you digest it, you get a steady stream of energy, not those up and down spikes. So this is, I'm pointing out to you because this trips people up a lot, and what they are fake carbohydrates. And that is what you see here. What most people eat are not really healthy carbohydrates. So they're not really simple carbohydrates, but they're not the healthy carbohydrates either, because these products are filled with sugar. So if you look back on that list that I showed you all the different names for sugar, if you were to buy a whole wheat bread in the store, one of the first 3 ingredients would be sugar. If you're to buy bagels and muffins, they add sugar. So all of these white carbs, they're not really complex carbs, they're like fake complex carbs because they contain sugar. So you want to make the right choices. And the way to make the right choices is to balance your meals with protein, fat, and fiber. So instead of eating a carb by itself, even if you're eating a healthy carb, so if you're having like an apple with a whole grain toast, you're still going to digest that within an hour. Whereas if you had that toast with avocado and eggs on it, or you put almond butter on that apple, then instead of digesting that apple in an hour, the hour will become 2 to 3 hours once you add the almond butter to it. The same thing with the bread. If you make avocado toast and put an egg on it, instead of digesting that bread in an hour, you will digest it within 2 to 3 hours. And that's what keeps your blood sugar stable and adds health to your immune system. Now that you learned how to add health to your immune system, these are the things that I recommend that you try and keep in your pantry to add health and eat healthier. So if you can keep turmeric or cocoa powder, matcha powder, if you can keep some seeds and beans like flax seeds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, any spices that you can keep in, whether you buy the powdered ones, you buy those little frozen cubes that you can push out. It's very important to keep oregano, garlic, ginger in your house. It is important to keep dark green leafy vegetables in your house, even if you have to buy the frozen ones. Because frozen, if you're not making that many trips to the store and you're having your groceries delivered to you, frozen vegetables are picked at their peak ripeness and they're frozen. So as long as you look at the label and you're buying frozen vegetables and frozen fruits that don't have any added sugar in it, that is just as good as eating a fresh fruit or a dark green leafy vegetable. You can still roast them, you can saute them, you can put them in soups, and it just is another way to store healthy foods in your house. The same thing with the cruciferous vegetables. It's very important, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts have a different type of antioxidant. Again, if you can't get them from the store fresh, you can always keep them frozen and still get the benefit of having the nutrients that you need from them because they're flash frozen when you get them. Fruits and vegetables, you want to keep all colors of the rainbow. So when you go shopping or when you order your groceries, if you're, kale and broccoli, maybe you want to make sure that you get red and yellow peppers and then some blueberries. So you get all those colors, or some grapes so that you get all the colors of the rainbow. And you want to keep condiments like avocado, salsa, hummus, and sauerkraut to use as a swap to make healthier things. So for example, I hear, like if I were to make like my daughter egg salad or tuna fish, I will mix it with guacamole or avocado instead of mayonnaise because I have a house full of teenagers that are healthy. It actually tastes delicious. When I did it for them, they're like, this is so good. What did you do? And I said, it has guacamole in it, but I left out the mayonnaise. Sauerkraut is a good way to get fermented foods in. You can use it as a sub for relish. Anything that you would dip, cheese for cheese, try using hummus as a substitute. It's a much healthier substitute. You get the fiber and you don't get all the fat from the cheese. And I always try and use salsa as a sub for ketchup. And I can tell you, if you take potatoes and you toss them with salsa and you roast them in the oven, they will be the most delicious sweet potatoes you ever tasted in your life. You won't even need to put ketchup on them because they are so flavorful. So let's review what I told you. We discussed adding health to your immune system, being on that first side of the grid. Everything that you do, you want to always be healing your body, adding health to your body. We discussed why it's so important to avoid sugar and ways to stock your pantry and ways to make healthy swaps for what you're eating. So these are the action steps that I would recommend to all of you, is to follow those steps to add health to your immune system. Make sure that you eat enough vitamins, antioxidants, and immune boosting minerals. I would look at the labels on your processed foods, and if you see any of those sugars, you really should limit the amount that you have. You want to try as much as you can to choose the right carbs. You want to try to make healthy sugary treat swaps. Try and eat meals and snacks with protein and fiber, and try to stock your pantry with healthy food. So if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to do them. And like I said, Judy is going to give you all these slides so you have all the information.
Well, you just took out the fun of my Entenmann's cake that's waiting in the other room. Miriam, you have a question.
Well, it's not really a question. I was told by a doctor that during this season of a wonderful play that I should take an iron, one of the vitamins, a zinc. So they prescribed a zinc pill, and unfortunately, I got a rash all over my body.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if people that take zinc, are there some that really are allergic to it? Normally, I don't take it. I just eat the healthy foods.
Yeah, zinc is a little tricky. You don't want to really take, zinc is like in all kinds of meat and foods like that. If you're eating a healthy diet, unless you will not necessarily be deficient in zinc. It's that some doctors believe that if you take zinc supplements, it will prevent you from the COVID virus. But if you eat a healthy diet and you can't take it, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
May I say something?
Sure.
Just wanna.
Excellent presentation, Jamie. You did a wonderful job. But you didn't mention anything about red meats or fish intake.
Yes, I didn't, because we were talking about adding health to the immune system, but I can address that if you like.
I know there's so much. I told Jamie, I know really, like she
I'm
could have
limited
gone
to
on
half
and
an
done
hour.
so much.
I tried to limit to half an hour of what was most pertinent right now. Do you have a specific question, Donna, about meat and fish?
So are you recommending not to eat meat?
No. I recommend that unless you have high cholesterol, it's good to eat meat maybe, a couple times a month, because it does have a source of iron. It's a good source of iron. And, it's a nice thing to eat as long as you're not eating it with so many fattening foods. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to have a steak, fine, but have it with like a big salad and maybe like a little small broiled sweet potato, not with like French fries and ketchup and everything else, on top of it that you would ordinarily have it. And fish is also great, but I mean, we eat a lot of chicken in my house, just because my husband doesn't like to eat so much red meat, and my kids don't like to eat so much fish, and I don't like to give them so much fish because I don't want to give them too much mercury. So we eat fish maybe like once or twice a week.
So what you're recommending mainly is a vegetarian diet?
No. I recommend moderation of everything. So once in a while meat, once in a while fish, sometimes, rice and beans, sometimes vegetarian, sometimes often chicken, poultry.
I don't think it's necessary. You don't get meat and fish, or that kind of protein is necessary.
I think you need to have a certain amount of protein per day, whichever one you like, as long as you're rounding it out with healthy foods. It's not really important unless you have high cholesterol. If you don't have high cholesterol, it doesn't matter what kind of protein you're eating, as long as you're eating it with healthy foods.
So
Why, Anita, what do you usually, do you have a lot of?
I don't eat meat. I don't eat meat, so it's not a problem for me, but I was just surprised. I don't not eat it for philosophy. I just don't eat it. And so I was surprised not to have it thought of as something essential, because I was worried a little bit about it.
Oh no, I just made the talk to fit into half an hour. So I just picked a subject that would fit in half an hour.
Can I ask you something? Can
Hi,
I-
yes, of course. It's so nice to
You
see
mentioned garlic is good. Is garlic powder just as good, or fresh garlic would be better?
Fresh garlic is better. I mean, I could tell you that if you like really were feeling sick and you like took hot water and you minced garlic into the hot water with some lemon and you drank it, you would, and a couple times in a day, you would feel better the next day.
Really?
That's how healthy it is. It tastes disgusting,
Wow.
but it really like it's.
I don't
so
know. I don't like fresh garlic, but I mean, occasionally I'll use it in a recipe, but
It's so healthy. It's really healthy. If you don't like it fresh, try roasting it and then having it.
what about the ones like in the jars? Is that just as good? You know, like they have it on without, you know, they peel it.
It'd be better to buy those little Dorote ones that come in
Yeah.
the frozen
Oh,
cubes.
okay.
Better than the jar.
Okay. Thank you.
Susie, you know what? If you roast it and then you squeeze it out and you put it on a healthy bread, not with sugar, like a whole wheat, you know, or something, it's so good to put garlic, I guess. Really delicious.
What you got to do is you got to put the garlic in the oven, right, in a like a little crucible of olive oil, and then you take it and smear it on the bread. Then it's like high in calories and it's delicious.
Oil, a little drizzle of olive oil in
Defeats
it.
the whole purpose.
I don't know. Olive oil is healthy for your heart. It's totally fine. You can do that. You can do that.
Question.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
My question is, I just joined Weight Watchers and they're allowing me to eat as many fruits as I like. It's a 0-point food. And I'm just wondering about the sugar in fruit and what that does for me. And I understand I could mitigate it with almond butter on apples, but do you have any recommendations for how many pieces? It just feels like it's limitless and that can't be healthy.
The truth of the matter is if you're doing it on points and you took all of your points from fruits and vegetables, nobody ever like got fat from eating too much grapefruit or too much broccoli. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd have to eat so much grapefruit or so much broccoli, like for example, to gain weight. That's why they put it as free, because who's really, other than people like me, you know, who eat healthy, really healthy, like who's going to eat that much fruit? Nobody. That's why they have it as free. So it's better for you if you're eating a lot of fruit to eat it with other things. But if not, try and stick to the fruits that are higher in fiber. So like berries, like strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries are higher in fiber, so they don't digest as quickly.
Where is apple on that?
Apples are good. Apples are great. But I'm saying, like I said, you wouldn't ever gain weight for eating too many apples because you'd be sick of them by the time they would add up to make you gain weight.
If you're diabetic, what does an apple do to your blood sugar?
So if you're diabetic, an apple can raise your blood sugar. It's better, like I showed the slide, to put the almond butter on it, because by adding a fat to the apple, it, instead of spiking your blood sugar, it makes it go like over, like straight.
What about,
So that won't raise your blood sugar. Sorry.
what about oranges?
Orange is the same thing. Those have fiber in them, but if you have diabetes, you should never eat fruit alone. It should always be meal or with protein, so that it's like a mini.
I thought it was interesting what you said about the water, because I know it's hard for me to drink a lot of water because, you know, you need a bathroom near you all the time. So I think it's easier when we're home now, but in the real world, to be drinking that much water, I mean, I find it really difficult.
But
You're
it's
right.
very important, Judy. Like if you think about it, like you wouldn't clean your car with iced tea, would you? Like you would clean it with water.
Right.
Like you need to clean your body with the water. So, and you would be amazed. Like if you really are well hydrated, you will be amazed. It can even help you lose weight sometimes, because sometimes you're feeling hungry and you're not really hungry. Your just body wants water, and you can't tell the difference.
They're dehydrated.
Yeah. But
Right.
you don't always feel dehydrated. You just maybe feel hungry, but really what you need is water.
I have a few questions, if you don't mind. By the way, when you mentioned iron, it threw me back to eating liver. My mother was, you have to have iron. The doctor said you have to have iron. Eat this liver. I'm not a fan of liver, but anyway, what's the story? What's the story on eggs and protein these days and cholesterol?
Okay, that is the biggest, one of the biggest back and forth things in nutrition and health is eggs. So I will tell you what I tell my clients is if you have high cholesterol, then I would eat more egg whites than the yellow. If you do not have high cholesterol, it doesn't really matter. An egg is like a perfect food. It's a complete protein. So when you eat an egg, you actually get all the amino acids that your body needs in that egg because it's considered a complete protein. There are not so many foods that are complete proteins, but eggs are one of them. So also eggs really get metabolized well in the body because you have a mix of fat and protein. So it's really a very healthy food. And I don't really recommend that people limit it unless you have high cholesterol.
I usually have an egg, but I put also egg whites in it.
Right.
And it's also on Weight Watchers at 0,
Right.
and it's so filling.
It's filling because you have the color from the yellow, but because the whites
Sometimes I put peppers in it.
yeah. And then you could put some garlic in it.
All the colors, Susie. You can add also a little green spinach or
I don't know.
something.
I just don't. I'll use garlic and I just don't like the taste, but I know it's in so many recipes.
It's so good for you.
Yeah.
It's really
Now,
good.
Susan, I know, is a big banana eater. I don't want to put Susan on the spot. Is it sometimes, can you eat too much of something?
You could eat, you could, but the idea is if you are going to replace 2 bananas with Entenmann's chocolate cake, it's better to have the 2 bananas than the Entenmann's chocolate cake.
Judy, you got any bananas?
No, I might.
Banana
Go
cake.
run and get it.
Banana cake.
Add a cake.
I have a question about
Judy,
egg.
Yes, Debbie?
can I ask a question, please?
Yes,
Can-
of course.
Jamie, can you tell me what you think about carbonated beverages? Because sometimes a flavored seltzer is nice, but I'm wondering about the carbonation especially for older people.
The carbonation is a problem only really if you have acid reflux. If you don't have acid reflux, it's not a problem to drink flavored water. It doesn't have any calories, doesn't have any sugar in it, in the seltzers and things like that. But if you do have a problem with gastric or reflux, then you should not drink the seltzer because it will aggravate it. And sometimes older people have some reflux, and if that is the case, you shouldn't drink it.
Okay, thank you.
Here's another question. You mentioned vitamin D and sun.
Yes.
What about vitamin D in milk?
You do get some vitamin D in milk, but I hesitate to say that most people are deficient in vitamin D because our culture is not like an outside culture, like our bodies were meant to be. So, and especially now that we're all on social distancing and we're all inside. So you can get some vitamin D from milk, but you really need the sun. So even if you're not outside, like sit by a sunny window in your house just to get some vitamin D.
Thank you. And what about beans? Are there better beans than others to eat? Like garbanzo beans are supposed to be really good.
All beans are good.
All beans are good. So
All beans are good.
thank you.
No problem.
Do you get
Somebody had a joke. They said we with this quarantine we should put a mezuzah on the refrigerator.
Funny.
Anita, you had a question?
Yes, for vitamin D, does the sun have to be on bare skin? We all use all these sunscreens now. Is the sun getting through? If we're all dressed up in the sun, is that doing any good, or does it have to be on your bare body?
Even if your face is in the sun, if you get a little sun on your face, it's enough. It's enough. But you
Even
need
if
to
you have a sunscreen on? A sunscreen?
I always wear sunscreen.
Uh-huh. And you're healthy, yeah.
I have like in my my makeup primer is with sunscreen in it. Like my cream that I put on my face has sunscreen in it, and the makeup primer that I put has sunscreen in it.
I have another question about eggs.
Sure.
So the egg white, is it true that that's where all the protein is? If
Yes.
so, it's in the yolk.
The yolk is pure fat and the white is pure protein.
Wow.
Ah.
Just,
May I ask a question?
Hi, Lana.
What's the story with the salt content in the kosher chicken? The elderly people, many of them have hypertension, and I understand the kashrut implies lots of salt. So how much is it in the kosher chicken?
kosher chickens in the koshering process do add a lot of salt. What I would recommend is to rinse them. You know, when you get them, soak them in a bowl of cold water, rinse it off, and don't add any salt when you're cooking it. So like when I cook chicken stuff, I rinse it and then I don't add salt. I'll add oregano and other spices, but I don't really add salt to the chicken.
Right.
Or sometimes order from Grow and Behold because they add less salt and it's healthier. But either way, you can just soak it.
So Jamie, when this is all over, we're coming to your house for dinner, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
In the mountains.
I actually live down the street from the shul. I live on the corner of Green Ridge and between Stratford and Bryant. I mean, but Stratford and Bryant.
Okay, see you soon.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Susan.
Now that you've given your presentation, what would you consider your favorite meal for your family?
Family's favorite meal?
Question.
If you had to design one meal for your family that would encompass all your ideas about a healthy individual, what would
Well, I can tell you what I made the other night, and my kids adore. I made rice and beans. So I took brown rice. I added turmeric and garlic to the rice. It was like a yellow, it was brown rice that looked yellow because I added not only turmeric powder, but fresh turmeric. And I add fresh garlic to it, and I make the rice, and then I make them beans. I made black beans with it, and I also, to the beans, I add garlic and oregano and ginger and all other spices. And then I made them a big arugula salad with sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and chopped up mangoes and cucumbers, and then I made them roasted cauliflower.
We're coming sooner than
I was going to say, your kids eat really well. I mean, I'm very impressed.
My kids eat really, but that is actually one of the things that I do, and one of the things that I speak about on my social media is that my kids, because they grow up in my house, when you model healthy food for your kids, even if they don't eat it. So my oldest one, the one that went to Carmel, when she was little, she only ate white food. It couldn't have any texture, it couldn't have any, I mean, she literally ate white pasta, the center of the white bread. She would not eat anything unless it's white. Now, she's almost 19, and she sends me texts all day long. Can you make an Indian lentil stew for dinner? Here's the recipe. Or I would like some Brussels sprouts. Can you get some Brussels sprouts from the supermarket? So my point is that when you model healthy food over and over and over again, the kids catch on. All my kids eat healthy. Like my little one is 11. I was exercising this morning. She knocked on the door and she said, can I open a can of hearts of palm? I want to eat the hearts of palm as a snack. So they eat pretty healthy, my kids. And my 14-year-old for today, she made pancakes for lunch. She's like, I'm gonna make healthy pancakes, okay? She made them she ground up in a blender, almond milk, baking powder, mashed up bananas and oats. And she made pancakes out of them. So
Sounds good.
my kids eat healthy.
So you know what? Anyone else have any questions, first of all? This was fabulous because I think we all kind of are forgetting to eat healthy during this time, right?
Yes.
We're just kind of either not going out and getting our usual things. Everyone's eating comfort food. When you go to the supermarket now, the sugar is sold out, all the cake mixes. I mean, you really see what people are getting now. And I think this was great for really putting us back on track. I'm wondering, Jamie, do you have any recipes, maybe like a couple, maybe I could include when I send out to everyone, like something you think might be like one or two that might be fun or good to eat?
I will forward it to you.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if that's okay.
I'd like the recipe.
This presentation you have already, but I will send it to you in a little while. I just have to.
No problem.
And then you can send it out. I will send it to you in a couple hours.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all, and I will be sending you all the slides and some recipes. Thank you so much, Jamie, really.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
I feel
Thank you.
you're all ready.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.
That's great.
Lois,
So happy you all came.
Lois,
See you Sunday morning, cheer yoga.
Lois. Lois.
Lois,
Maybe.
Anita's talking to you.
I'll call you.
Anita, Lois needed an update on her system, and now she's good to go for all our programs.
Wonderful.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm going to end this program, so we'll all be out, okay? Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.